one. We're in for a special treat, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest is an entrepreneur. He's a great content creator. He's an awesome communicator. And I really believe he's going places. I just saw this guy on my newsfeed one day on Instagram, saw the connection, especially the Yankees, and I just had to figure out how to get him on the show. And we are so lucky to have him. He is the creator and host of the Bronx Zoo content creation page. And he's also has some other endeavors in the world of fitness, I believe, too. And I'd like to learn that. Yep. And seriously, guys, this is a future star in the making here. We have Jake Kosack from the Bronx Zoo joining the Productive Conversations podcast. Jake, what's going on, my friend?
Yankees, you're repping Yankees too. I love it.
All the time.
First thing I noticed when we opened up the call.
Yes, sir. Great.
Thank you for having me on.
Dude, this is awesome. I mean, as I mentioned, with the help of social media, that's how I was able to discover you. Just showed up on my news feed. Been a big Yankee fan forever. You're doing a great job spreading the word. And hopefully with this, we get you more exposure.
Absolutely.
So this is awesome. This is really awesome. So I guess so we could introduce, so to explain what's going on, you are in charge of the Bronx Zoo, which is a big content creation page focused on interviewing Yankee fans in the Yankee universe. Is that correct?
So, yeah. So, the way I best describe it is it's the first of its kind baseball fan interview show, but more specifically, it is the first of its kind New York Yankee fan interview show. That's kind of like the coined phrase that I've used since the beginning. There's, of course, been many man on the street segments in all aspects of media for decades now, but the up until, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've never seen, especially in the baseball world, a fan interview show, specifically all conversations directed towards baseball and the mixture of pop culture and baseball together. That's really the best way I describe it to people.
And I think that's a perfect explanation. And I've seen whether you've talked to players, and what's cool about the Bronx is what you do as you interact with friends, clearly of all ages, whether you're talking with an older fan about Greg Nettles, or you're talking about Tony Soprano's fate with a fellow fan, or coming at Red Sox fans and trolling them and seeing who's boss. You clearly know how to spark a conversation, and I really admire that. And clearly you're doing a great job as you're starting this. Now, is this your first season doing this?
So, so basically, and I appreciate that. I was actually talking with someone about that the other day, that the one thing I'm very proud of with the Bronx Zoo is I try and make sure I can connect with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I got it on. It never comes off. Hold on, I'll show you. My Yankee chain.
Represent that.
I didn't just, grab a mic and say, oh, let's go in front of Yankee Stadium. I said, I'm a diehard Yankee fan. And when I grew up, I was a huge statistical guy. I love stats. Yeah. I loved reading about the history. I was like a baseball nerd. We pride ourselves on that. A baseball nerd. I was a baseball historian. And at the same time, I have a very specific sense of humor. I love to laugh at everything. And I'm huge in pop culture. So the other day I was actually talking about that. Like, I believe that, the Bronx Zoo works best because you give me any single person, I'll find something to connect with, because I'm super into pop culture. I was an actor growing up doing theater, but I also played sports. Yeah. So I did theater for about 12 years. And then I was also into sports. So I did both because I always loved movies and shows. And you mentioned Sopranos. Like I watched that 6 times. So like when someone comes up to me talking about that, but yeah, so I actually, sorry to get off base, but I started the Bronx Zoo almost a year ago to the day. I was outside on the corner of 50th and 1st, which is right near Dunkin' Donuts. It's in that park, right between the hotel and the UN. There's a park, and I worked for a cable news network. Before that, I worked for TMZ as a reporter.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
I did entertainment and sports reporting. And then a couple years before that, I worked at a fashion consultant. And then my big first job out of college, I was an intern at a company called Steiner Sports, which is
very familiar
in the Yankee world. So that was my first introduction to the sports world. And I mean, that was every kid's dream. I got to work with, Brandon Steiner specifically, awesome experience, and all the Yankees and the athletes. But I ended up moving on my way to TMZ as a reporter and a field producer. We were called. Essentially, I was the guy with the camera on the street. But I really focused on because I knew I wanted to get into media to some capacity, but I was like, how do I start? And that job popped up on my LinkedIn one day. And I said to myself, I'm like, yeah, that might be fun. Let me apply. And I applied, actually got it. And when I tell you,
never know,
it was one of the most fun experiences I ever had. I got to interview hundreds of athletes, actors, and I specifically focused on TMZ Sports.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got to interview Derek Jeter on a red carpet. I got to interview Michael Jordan. I got to interview Pacino, De Niro, all these people. So like as a kid out of college, you're thinking, oh, wow, this is cool. And then pandemic happens and things change. And I'm like, oh man, where do I go from here? I got a job at a cable news network. Great experience, got to travel the country. And I did more of the camera work and the editing. But that was a great experience too, because that it led me to where I am today, where I do all the editing and production on my end as the camera work. So I long story short, I was on the corner of 50th and 1st, got sent out to grab a couple man on the street interviews about some topic in the news, and I didn't want to do it. I'll never forget. I was complaining. I'm like, this isn't my job. I'm not the reporter. I don't want to do this. Don't want to do it. And I had a Yankee jersey on that day, like an old pullover style jersey.
Yeah.
And I was standing on the corner, and I said, this old man walked by me, and he said, I said, excuse me, sir, can I ask you a question? And he's like, is it about the Yankees? And I said, well, no. And then in my head, it literally, I'll never forget it. It just started turning. I'm like, that's a concept that I've never thought of. Maybe that's what I can do. So about a year ago, I came up with the name and the logo in August. I don't think anyone had any idea what I had planned. Of course, my parents and my family supported me with whatever I did. But I don't think anyone I saw the vision. What it is today. It's just the beginning, in my opinion. I have so many more things I want to do with it, but this is the start of what I visioned a year ago. So it's cool to see it to come fruition. But yeah, so I started 4 games last season, and really became full-time this season.
Wow, you really earned it. I mean, you should be very proud of yourself, and clearly you're growing something here, as this is it is a random interaction, but clearly you're growing your audience and people are seeing what you're doing. And the fact that you made your bones doing it through TMZ, that's really fascinating. So I guess you
tough work. I don't say that to boost myself up, but you really get to know a lot about yourself when you're out there 14 hours a day on the streets of Manhattan, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
You're by yourself a lot, and it makes you think. So I appreciate that very much.
Of course, dude. Of course. And I know where you're coming from, and well, look at where we're here, and we get to learn more about it. And did you happen to be the guy? So as you know, big radio fan, and I'm a big I follow TMZ Sports, and you obviously probably know Sports Pope Mike Francesa.
Mike Francesca.
Did you happen to be the guy who asked him about sleeping on the air? I just remember that was a funny TMZ.
That wasn't me. No, but I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, no, that was not me.
Hey, he's helped us bring us here, but that's really cool though. TMZ reporting, and that's my mom's favorite show. So I'm definitely gonna brag about that.
Too. Great company to work for.
Awesome.
Had a great time there.
Love it to hear. So as you mentioned, this was whoever that person is, wherever you are in this world. Thank you for being the star of the Bronx Zoo.
Yep.
And I would like to also know, right before that, as you got into college. So we talked briefly right before, but for our audience, where are you from? Like, where did you grow up? I assume you're from the area, the tri-state area, but how did this begin for you?
I grew up actually in a town called Hopewell Junction, New York, which is about 10 minutes from Poughkeepsie.
Wow, that's actually, we have family in there. My brother's doing his thing. I don't know if you know Bologna's, if that name sounds familiar.
Oh, they're from Hopewell?
Yeah, literally.
That's awesome. We're in Hopewell.
They're right by their house is by the high school where you can walk by the high school, right? Is it Gianna and Ali from Hopewell
Yeah,
Junction?
7 minutes away from there. I went to John Jay.
Look at that. This is a big ass high school, right?
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, my gym is right next door. So I was there today.
Look at that. That's funny,
That's
man. That's
awesome.
funny. So you're from Duchess County.
Yep.
Beautiful area, obviously.
Great
We know.
area. Yep. My whole so basically my grandparents are from the Bronx and Yonkers.
Yeah.
My parents were from Yonkers. My mom moved around a lot. My dad moved up here. And then we moved up here when I was a baby with I have one older sister and one twin sister, actually.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're all super close, very, very close family, all of us. Like that's our number one thing. Family.
How sweet. How sweet. I saw your dad has been featured on the show before, and he was at the 76 ALCS.
Yes,
was
he
that,
was.
Was that game? Yeah, the Chambliss home run was like what, game 5, 6, 7?
Game 6.
Game 6. Obviously, the famous walk-off fans jump on the field. Yep. Look at that. And so clearly it was your dad who influenced you to be a Yankee fan, I assume.
Yeah, my mom loves sports, but my dad and specifically my grandpa, him too, and my grandma, all three of my grandma remarried, so 3 of my grandfathers, all diehard Yankee fans.
Look at that.
So, and then my dad, giant Yankee fan. So I was born October 1996. October.
Okay.
So I'm sure you can imagine what that day means to the Yankees world.
So yes, that was the day the Yankees clinched the World Series in '96, or it was
before I was born.
2 weeks before you were born. Yep. Okay, so this clearly was meant to be, Jake. Meant
to be.
What's funny about my Yankee fandom? So it's unique. So my mom's grew up in Port Chester, New York, Westchester. My dad's also from the Bronx. Cool. But our grandfather's actually from North Carolina. Fights in World War II. Then after goes to the GI Bill and goes to New York City, land of dreams, and he meets my grandma. My grandma who wound up moving back to North Carolina, but she's from Harlem. Okay. And they met at the YMCA in Manhattan, and then they wound up settling in the Bronx. But my grandfather was actually scouted to play baseball and be a pro, but he comes from a very religious family, and my great grandpa literally said, yeah, baseball, there was no Sundays for baseball, and he didn't pursue that, but he still stayed in New York, but he's totally played Ebbets Field and all of that, right? So, but having said that, he was originally a fan of Brooklyn Dodgers, and then when they left, stayed neutral and actually became a Met fan, and then influenced my dad to be a Met fan. And I was actually... And then my mom grew up a Met fan herself. So I'm supposed to be a Met fan. And the way I pretty much learned how I could be independent was I just went to a Yankee game first. I can remember it was May 8th, 2003, Yankees A's.
Ooh.
And it actually happened to be the Moneyball team the year after, right?
Yep.
And my dad
just came.
Yeah, literally. Yep. And so before my dad could really influence, you're going to be a Met fan, I was like, no, I like this better, to be honest. And I just stuck with the Yankees. I remember being in the old stadium, and it was just looked so badass. Roger Clemens started the first game I've ever saw. I remember Jeter, he had a shoulder injury. Actually, my first game.
Jeter wasn't playing though, right?
Yeah, I missed. He was there the next game when they played the Devil Rays. I remember September that year, and I just honestly just thought there was a cooler uniform. If you remember Backyard Baseball 2000, Jeter was like really prominent. It's like, I'm going to stick with this team. And it's a unique relationship with me and my dad. And my dad would always take me to Yankee games despite being a Met fan. So I give him a lot of credit and love him for that. But, we always just bigger the whole time. My sports chat, it's all Met. It's like 9 of us, and it's 7 Mets fans. Me and this dude, Ralph, we just fight for the Yankee fandom. And I grew up with so many, especially... Yeah, shouts to Ralph. Oh, definitely. Yeah. Oh,
light.
No worries there.
There we go. Move this over a little bit. There we go.
Perfect. So
too excited, too passionate.
Clearly. So, and I grew up mainly in Connecticut, Norwalk, Connecticut, just right outside New York.
Oh yeah, my sister's boyfriend's from there.
Oh really? How about that? So, we actually had both Red Sox fans, Yankee fans, and Met fans. And I just been used to defending Yankee fandom. And honestly, I just stuck with the pride. I've been a hardcore fan ever since.
That's awesome.
So, it's been a fun time, especially this season, both the Yankees and Mets competing on top of their divisions, but we know who's I understand it's been a tough month, but it's baseball. It happens,
I am worried. I am freaking out yet. We're good.
Exactly. So that's we get our fandom. We've been sticking to it ever since. And so one of the things I noticed too, like you really know your history about the game baseball. Clearly, I was wondering how'd you get that? It was like for me, I learned my history just from watching lots of Yankeeographies. Just a huge reader. My dad's also a huge baseball savant and knowledge. And even though he likes the other side, but he'd also always point out these things for me.
Yep.
Is that the same story with you on how you got your history of not only the Yankees, but the entire game?
Yeah, I definitely all of baseball. When I would say that what Yankeeography, honestly, great mention. Shout out to those because those were awesome for Yankee fans growing up. I still have the box set in my house.
Classic.
I would say, watching the Yes Network, Yankeeographies, all the history stuff, and eventually, when I was in middle school, MLB Network came out, got into those documentaries. I was really big into baseball cards. Every year I got the top set, and I'd read the cards. And then, instead of just video games and stuff for Christmas, I'd always want baseball stuff. So my parents would give me baseball books, and I still have all these old classic baseball books. And I'd read them. I wasn't the biggest reader, but I'd go through like the stat books, and I'd go through just the things about the Yankees specifically. But I'm more of a watcher. I loved watching documentaries. I loved baseball movies, watching old classic games, and then YouTube comes around, you get to go watch
the best thing when YouTube changed the game for all of us.
I mean, like the MLB YouTube channel, I don't think enough people give it credit. Like you can go type in anyone's name in history and see like all these old school plays, and I do it every day because that I use I try and use that stuff to come up with new questions and try and think of different ideas about different players. I go back and watch it still. I try and try and compare. Like I'm really big into, comparing questions because I think it gets people going. Like today, Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge. So today I just went back and watched some Bryce Harper stuff and Aaron Judge stuff, beginning of their careers. And so it's like, I've always been a big guy in watching stuff. Yeah.
Bryce Harper, he really, the beginning of the last decade, he really had the sport in the palm of his hands. And again, it just shows the difference between the great and the really great. Like if you saying that consistency, what they say.
He's really great. I do. I think that the injury hurt him this year. I think he was on pace to win a third MVP. I really do.
Yeah. And I know what they say. The best ability is availability.
Yep. He was. I mean, he got that second MVP last year. I don't know. I think he's still young enough that once he wins that World Series, he's up there. I'm a huge Bryce Harper fan. I think he's the second biggest superstar, maybe the third behind Trout and Ohtani. But
clearly,
I still rank him, based on baseball ability and what they've given to the game over the last 15 years. I'd still rank him maybe number 3.
And I like that he played a good heel character. If we're going wrestling terms, in the sense that he definitely comes at fans. Like when he hit that walk off a few years ago and running around the bases pissed off, that's what the game needs. And that's how you create these characters for us to follow and care about.
Yeah.
And also another thing that got me into sports, just always listen to the radio, Big the Fan, Mike and the Mad Dog, all of that. And I just love hearing the stories from the older generations and newer ones, because that's how and that's who experience. And another kudos to you for getting those stories from the previous generation, or all generations, I should say.
I love the old timers.
Definitely. So I told you my first game. Do you remember your first? I mean, you probably did, but when was the first time you walked into the old Yankee Stadium?
First time was a game back in 2000. 2000. I was with my grandpa, my dad, and my other grandpa. So all of us together. I remember one thing I remember from that game specifically was my grandpa was a former NYPD officer. So somehow he made his way down to we got like a picture right near the field. So we got a picture there, and then I remember him getting me a ball. I don't know, like a player didn't give it to him or anything, but he just got me a ball and made it seem like it was a home run ball. Like I was a kid, what do I know? But like
Yeah.
he got me a ball, and like I still have that ball somewhere. So like it was my dad and my grandpa specifically.
No way. How it doesn't get any better than that. It really doesn't.
And my other grandpa. So it was just the four of us.
Man, what a winner. Do you remember if they won, or you remember like who got a big
I
hit
do
or
believe they
anything?
won. I do believe they won. I'll go actually get the exact. I'll get the ticket stub. I gotta go find it.
Oh, I still have mine. And
I was
Baseball
like,
Reference is your best friend in that
oh,
stuff.
100%. I was like 3 years old, so maybe 4. 2000, yeah, 2000. I was 4. So yeah.
How about that? I remember with that game, Yankees got shut out 2-0, tough loss.
Oh.
But I saw the next. I went a few months later, like I said, against the Devil Rays,
Yep.
and it was a Giambi Matsui home run, and we won that. That was my first win.
What a team.
So I have good times, man, good times. So I was also wondering, obviously the old Yankee Stadium.
Yep.
Even though so I'm about the same age as you. I'm just about a year older. I was born the very last day of 94. So I pretty much tell people in 95.
Okay.
So we're just about the same age.
Yeah.
Right.
A week after my older sister. She was December 24th, 1994. So.
Oh wow. That's pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas to her and your family that day. So do you quote unquote still miss the old place? Do you feel that there was still that mystique and stuff like that? And nothing wrong with the new stadium, especially it's cool. We make our memories and enjoy it, but you always just hear from past generations, like there's just something about it. And like we were talking about the Captain Doc before recording, and Jeter's like, there really are ghosts in there. Do you miss the old place yourself and the memories you made?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was something special. When you were there, you just knew it was special. I do wish I was a little bit older back then, so I could go there like I did now. Now I'm able, like I'm old enough. I walk around by myself. I go to the stadium,
Yeah, right.
Outside it. Like I was a kid when they tore it down, so it's like I wish I could experience it then. But I do remember it. It was an amazing place to watch a baseball game. It was different because it was so much. I mean, it was so much tighter. It was like closer together.
Built in the 20s, man.
The place rocked. The place rocked. It really did. It was just a special stadium. But to people who say like the new stadium doesn't have any history, well, let's just take a step back and realize we are literally right across the street. It's not like we moved to the Meadowlands. We are in the same street. It's a new building, yes, but we're also only 14 years into this building. So in 100 years, they might be saying the same thing about this one when we win another 15, 20 rings. So, I mean, I take a step back and be like, okay, it's not the old place. We miss the old place. But I think in 50, 60 years, they're going to be talking about this place like they do with Wrigley, because it is a beautiful stadium. I mean, a lot of people tell me all the time it's too corporate and it's too all this crap. And it is a beautiful place to watch a game. Everywhere you sit in that stadium is a great seat. It is on the outside of it's up there with one of the most beautiful looking old school classic ballparks that there is. I mean, when you look at old school ballparks, Fenway is gorgeous. I can't take it away, even though they're the Red Sox. Wrigley, right. Wrigley's the second best stadium I've ever been to. So I mean, when you look at Yankee Stadium from the outside, it has that old school look. So I would say to people that give it time.
Everyone's looking for a reason to complain about something, right?
Always. Especially when it comes to the Yankees, because people hate greatness. But
that's what I'm saying. And as Jeter said in his final goodbye at the old stadium, you have to bring the new memories to the memories to the new place. And as you mentioned, over a decade now, and it has done that, one World Series, but there's been so many great games. Moments Jeter's final game. I saw you post a video. You were at that game, right?
I was. Yep.
No way. That how could you not? I mean, how could you not? What's the word I'm looking for? Like how could you not realize that? Like, what was it like in the environment that day? Like, did you feel like, wow, we're really about to see history? We're seeing one of the greats. This is this is going to be a special one.
I could tell you, I remember on the way down, it was my first couple weeks of college, and my dad picked me up from school. And I mean, I literally started when he won. I was born when he won Rookie of the Year. Now I'm in college on his last game. So it was a lot of emotions because, I mean, I'm not alone. Derek Jeter was a hero to all of us. I mean, like, I'm not going to sit here, but I'm the biggest Jeter fan because he was something to all of us. And my room, I have a giant poster at college of Jeter above my bed. Now in my room, I got Jeter poster, picture. I have like a bin of Jeter. Like, Jeter's all over my room still. I'm 25 years old. So it's like, I mean, this guy was a hero to me. He was an absolute hero. Besides my mom and dad and Sylvester Stallone, Derek Jeter was the guy that inspired me the most. And I remember my dad picked me up, and we were just talking, and we're like, the traffic actually wasn't that bad headed down. It was bad weather to start because we were nervous that they were going to postpone the game. And I
remember that.
It just, everything fell into place. Literally everything just started to fall into place, and you started to feel it. Like, there was like a feeling, and anyone I talked to that was there was a feeling I've never had at a baseball game, that we were all there together to give an emotion, our emotions, show them to a man we've all loved for 20 years. And as the innings went on and you realized what was happening, and when Robertson gave up the runs to tie the game, I remember looking at my dad.
That's right.
I looked at him right in the eyes, and I said, Dad, this is going to happen. Like, this is going to happen. Like, there's no question about it. Jeter is going to do what Jeter does. And when he does, man, I'll tell you, the tears flowing out of my eyes. It was just like all that emotion that we were building up. It was just like, and I had people like texting me, and everyone was like, dude, I'm crying my eyes out. We're like grown men crying. It's because, like, that's what the Yankees are. That it's not just a game. It never was just a game. And he wasn't just a player. He created a feeling for 20 years of an escape. And I always tell people, baseball and the Yankees, it's not just, it's, everyone says, and everyone always, you know, I have a lot of trolls on my TikTok. I'm sure you've seen, but everyone tries to say, oh, you're not special. And that's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous, because when it comes to the New York Yankees, everyone has fans. Every team has fans, but I've met fans all across baseball, and there's some great fans, you know, Chicago Cubs specifically, great fans. You know, Dodger fans are really good.
Oh, very passionate. Cardinal fans too.
Cardinal fans, awesome. And but when it comes to New York Yankee fans, there is nothing like it. Nothing like it. They are unique, and that game specifically showed what it was like to be a Yankee fan, and it was a feeling that will never be matched.
It's a sense of family. That's what I really come to realize, that
we are a family.
We would have
it all the time.
Doesn't matter. This is a special thing, and especially, you know, Tri-State area is not. I mean, it's an amazing place to grow up and live, but you know, there's so much going on. There's so much to stress about and stuff. So when you have this commonality with the Yankee fan, it's just something great, and you make new friends overnight, and you make these memories. And this was the ultimate face of that. And I said, especially when Jeter retired his number, like, this dude made our childhood. Like, when you think of when you're a kid, who's the guy you think of, like one of your top guys, next to you and Stallone, Rocky, you have Derek Jeter. And I mean, he's gonna be living forever. He's a legends never die. And I remember my memory that day was so I was in a fraternity in college, and I was the fundraising chair. So that was a Thursday night, the University of Hartford.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And
I looked there, actually.
Really?
I did a tour there. Yep.
Maybe I was your tour guide. I was a tour guide at school. Wouldn't that be funny? So, and where'd you go? I think you're
Mount St. Mary College in Newburgh, New York.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. I know that school. So I was a fundraiser chair, and that was a Thursday night. So I invented this fundraiser called Foodie Thursday. So you'd have college kids go through the bar, you come home, and then we would give them their munchies. That was basically my idea.
Yeah.
And I remember, and it did really well. And that day was a Thursday that night against the Orioles. So 25th. I watched it. Yeah, that's right. I was watching the game back in my dorm, and we didn't start till 10. So just watching the whole thing. Jeter gets on, he gets that double. I remember also his last roll call was it Nick Markakis hit a home run in the middle of it.
Yep.
So
great player. Shout out Nick Markakis, great player.
Seriously, great, awesome outfielder. So I remember it was like what was it like? Must have been the last at bet. I was waiting before I had to go, and my roommate, still a good friend to this day, we were watching, and I remember watching D Rob give up the home run, like you said, and there's like, is he gonna cry? Is he gonna cry? And then he hits it, and then it's like, oh, he's due up. I think it was like Guardy was up right before him, and like he has to get on. This is gonna be a movie. So then we had to run to the apartment where we were actually making the food. Well, what did we make that day? Oh man, I think it was like grilled cheese or something. I don't know. So we were all just hung up with the TVs watching, and I have a picture deep in my iCloud of the moment, and then we know hits it past the first baseman, and
Dickerson comes home to score.
that's right. Classic moment. And everybody goes crazy. I call my dad even on the Memphis, say, oh, did you see that? And then like he could just creates memories like that. And then the generations before diving into the stands, I remember watching that live against the Red Sox. Obviously, 0-1.
Not Dickerson, Richardson. Sorry.
Yeah, Richardson is safe.
Richardson's safe, not Dickerson.
Mm-hmm. And whether the flip play against Oakland and then the World Series home run, Byung-Hyun Kim, 3,000th as a home run. Jeter just knew how to be clutch, and it shows that everything's going to be okay, and just focus and you'll pull it off. And then the last funniest moment, I remember there was this big fan named Sean Daniels, wherever you are. He decided to go to the bar that night, and they put on the Giants Raiders game at the time, and he missed the whole moment. I was like, that's on you, bro.
Raiders game?
Yeah, right. Well, that's what he gets. I literally said that's what you get. Like you couldn't just wait till 11 to go out. But there you go, man. And besides that, before we get more into like your approach and the people you've been interacting with, I was wondering, what are just some of the other great games you remember going to and other memories? Any other special ones stick out?
Yeah, I went to the wild card game in 2018 against the A's. That was awesome. That was a great game. I also went to the wild card game in 2017.
Didi's home run.
That one, I don't think I've ever seen the stadium shake like that, other than Jeter's final hit. That one really got the place going. So I'd say that one. And then I went to, I want to say I went to a bunch of games growing up, so those were always cool. But yeah, playoff wise, those two, 2018, 2017, and then I feel like there's one big moment I'm blanking out on. I remember 2017 was a fun year because I got to the stadium like 10 times because I was when I was working at Steiner, I got to go a bunch. So it was like Judge's rookie year.
Baby Bombers.
The Baby Bombers. Shout out Gary Sanchez, what he meant to that team. And coming up in 16, I know he never panned out the way we wanted, but that team was electric. It was like when Clint Frazier was getting called up and we thought he was the next Mickey Mantle. Like the excitement around
that did not work out.
Didn't work out. And honestly, it's sad because I thought he was good. I really liked him. I liked his personality. Thought it was kind of really good for New York. Kind of reminded me of Reggie Jackson, and I know they got along really well. So I was like, oh, this guy, I think he's built for this.
Red Thunder.
It's a shame, but I wish him the best. And same with Gary. Like those guys, it didn't pan out the way we wanted, but they gave us some clutch moments.
Yeah, I was thinking about, man, there's a lot of people not left on that team anymore. You had,
Judge Hicks.
You just have Judge Hicks still left, and I mean, obviously Chase Headley's gone. No more Starlin Castro.
Chapman.
Yeah, they did when he left at 16, then came back. Obviously no more Gary. Yeah, like geez. Sevy's still here. And it just shows. Sevy. Yeah, so hopefully we see him very soon. I know he's stuck on the 60-day IL.
Fine with it. I'm okay with it to keep him healthy for the postseason.
Yeah, seriously. So, and some other games that I really liked. What's funny? The last Yankee game I entered at the old stadium was Yankees Reds. Ken Griffey Jr. up. The last person I ever saw hit a home run at the old stadium was actually Ken Griffey Jr.
I think I was at that game.
Really?
Yep. The Yankees played the Reds. I saw Ken Griffey hit the home run.
There was a rain delay, and I remember they gave him a standing ovation. I was wow, that's cool. That's
he have 2 home runs that day?
I think he only hit 1.
I feel like I went to a game where he had 2 at the old stadium. Yeah.
Maybe. And I remember it was just it was Andy pitched that day, one of my favorite Yankees of all time. fact, I have this when I went to see the Cubs. I haven't taken it out just in case it becomes worth something.
Oh, it's there. I was doing the zoo that game.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny. That's funny. How about that? Damn, I should have walked by your way that day.
Great game.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Trevi hit the home run, hit the walk-off.
Yep.
And so that was cool, even though he was on the other team, but still Mo got the save. It was classic. I remember Kyle Farns was pitched that day, and if you've seen recent pictures of him now.
Tank now.
Yeah. Perfect word. And then another good game I went to, the last time I saw Mo pitch at 13, and it was A-Rod's first game back after his second suspension. I was like, this is clear. And they booed him so loud that's when the stadium
The one in Boston?
Or this was against Detroit.
Oh, first game back in New York.
Yeah. First game back. Yeah, that's right. Back in New York. His first home game.
Remember the whole Ryan Dempster situation?
Oh, yeah. And he threw right M, 4 straight pitches. Girardi literally spitting out.
Yep.
Oh, I missed that guy. But then I remember A-Rod hit a home run off Verlander, and everyone forgave him from that time on. It's like, typical Yankees fans. Yeah. And then it was Mo came in, and they were down by 1, or they were up by 1 trying to get the save. And then he had Miguel Cabrera straight off his Triple Crown year against Mariano Rivera, literally 2 Titans. And he hit it. He tied the game. He hit a home run off him.
Did they win?
They did. Gardy hit the walk-off home run after that. It all worked out.
There you go.
And then it took it till 2019 to go to my first playoff game, but I'm going no matter what, every postseason.
Yeah.
It was someone I was dating at the time, and she was a big Yankee fan, and she convinced me. I remember the week before I was in Los Angeles, and I came back. I was just really tired, but she just begged me to go. And that was when people thought we were going to get knocked out in Game 5. It's Houston. Verlander was pitching, and then they give up the run, and then you have a DJ home run to tie, and then Aaron Hicks got the plays rolling. I was like, this is as good as it gets. And then
I think people always confuse the 2017 and the 2019. Like, you forget that we played the Astros twice.
Yeah,
and that's like sometimes it's like, yeah, we had to place this damn team twice.
This really is our final boss. You talk about Rocky references. This is our Clubber Lang and Drago.
We got to get past them. We got to.
I really hope we do. I still want that. We have to earn that validation.
Yep.
And I used to intern Sirius XM Radio. I met a good friend, and my good friend Cole's from Houston. I've literally been battling him for 7 years about it, and I just can't get it. I need to have this finally 2022, and I'm gonna go. I'll go to Houston to troll him.
Yeah. Well, we're still waiting on Houston to win their first ring, right?
Their first they truly earn it.
Yeah, there we go. There it is.
And then we know what happens with the Altuve home run, and then after DJ's clutch game tying home run, it makes you cringe. And
DJ's home run had me in tears, man.
Yeah,
I was so happy.
Bouncing around. I was going crazy with my other brother. And
you know what's funny about that home run?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been up there with the air. I know it wasn't a walk-off, but that would have been up there with the Aaron Boone, Bucky Dent. So that would have been one of the best home runs in history of baseball.
Totally agree.
And, I mean, and that year that DJ had, and I'm glad he's bouncing back to DJ LeMahieu, because people forget this guy is a machine. This guy,
he's earning his pinstripes.
He is going to go down as one of the most dynamic, reliable Yankees of the last 20 years.
Such a cool, comic collective dude. I like his dynamic. And
great.
Then we know Altuve with the buzzer, which I'm really convinced. And I
won't say that he was,
day.
But I'm not, nothing surprises me with that team.
Oh, Houston. I don't know about you, but I don't think I'll ever hate a team more than the Red Sox. But they're really up there, the Astros, for the rest of my life.
I said it last night. Nothing will ever beat the Red Sox. But you know what? The Astros are making a strong case.
Clearly, man.
It's like their goal is to, and you know what, drives me crazy. And a lot of people on my pages and stuff think, obviously the Red Sox are our rivals. I'm never going to treat them, like I treat other fans around the league. And people think I can't stand Mets fans. That's just not the case. Just Mets fans get sensitive about a lot of stuff. So
clearly,
it's
crying
fun.
all the time.
Fun. I don't hate the Mets. The Astros the Astros fans, I know some of them out there like what we do, and I really appreciate it because they get the sense of humor. But some Astros fans won't let it go that their team did something wrong, and they want to find a scapegoat. Oh, every team was doing it. Oh, this was they were just doing what they did was the most. And they always bring up steroids and like, oh, guys have used steroids before. But what the Astros did was a coordinated team effort. That has never been done. And they always throw out the argument of, oh, they won on the road. That's great. Good for them. But what were they doing at home? Like, I mean, I always say that they had Phil Collins in the back playing the drums, and that's why they so.
That's a good one, man. And shouts to John Boy doing ultimate exposure, man.
Yeah, they're amazing. So awesome.
Oh, very much. One of my biggest inspirations to do what I do is what John Boy, Talking Jake,
awesome. Yeah,
Jost Lee, all those guys. So yeah, and we could do this. We could do it, Jake. We gotta get ready. We're tied right now as we're recording it, and oh man, need a reason to make fun of Cole Thompson. Leave it that. His name's Cole Thompson, my Astros fan friend. He writes for SI now in USA Today. So
he's your friend.
Yeah, he could take the heat, and we enter together. And we need a reason to make fun of him and take that smile off Altuve's face. Oh man. So as we switch gears a little bit, and we wanted to focus on, as we talked about our Yankee fandom, and we can now focus on what you're doing now in terms of content creation. So you mentioned how you began the little tools and skills of interviewing people from what you've done at TMZ, being a field reporter and stuff like that, right? So now when it comes to the Bronx Zoo itself, like when they have their next homestand. So tell me, what's it like a day when you're going to record?
Yeah. So a lot of people, like, I've told people this before. I actually left. I had a great job with great, benefits and all that stuff. And I left it in January to pursue the zoo.
Onto greener pastures, man. I just something similar just now, so I know what you mean.
Yeah, I just then it's just I knew that this was what I was meant to do. And I'm not naive to the fact that there's many people, especially on TikTok, and they're doing some man on the street stuff, and it's very popular now, and a lot of people are doing it. I feel like I kind of started it right before the cusp of everyone seeing how fun it is, but good thing that there's 8 billion people in the world, so you never run out of
clearly content. And if you don't mind me interrupting really quick, and it's cool, I feel like some of these man on the streets, some of them are really staged. Like, I mean, of course,
some of them are, yeah.
Of course, good things happen. Good things can happen. Stranger things have happened, but what I like about you, it's like you clearly see you're not exactly setting something up. I just want to throw that out there.
I say it all the time. If I would never put something on the Bronx Zoo that was staged. I wouldn't do it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I kind of cringe when I guess that's the right word, when I see it. Like, I'm like, oh, I don't want to waste my time watching something fake. And I will never fake something. So like when you watch my stuff, and like I can show the footage. Like we're just rolling. I have amazing field producers, Matt Ricker and Joe.
Hey, shouts to Matt and Joe.
They're the best. And without them, I couldn't do what I do. We hit record and we go. And that's, I have it all. Like you could see how things develop. And, one thing, like you said, I'm a historian, but I do a lot of research before I go out for the day. Like I want to always be prepared. So, it's not staging when you're prepared. So if if a topic might get brought up, you're ready to talk about it. So like, especially in pop culture and things like that. And I try and just be very like light with it on my feet and like always be prepared. You never know what's coming. But a typical day would say, so I besides actually filming the Bronx Zoo, I do all of the Bronx Zoo. I edit. I do social media. I do the marketing. I do, everything that comes into play, the responding, the messaging. So, when I'm commenting on TikTok, all this stuff, it's always me. And, our following isn't as big as other people's, but the zoo is a very strong following.
Hey, we're started somewhere, man.
Yeah, I have some of the greatest people that support me. And I always like want to make sure I'm interacting. So like when I wake up in the morning, I go through notifications, messages, try and respond as much as I can. But most of the day, the only time I take a break is to go to the gym, but I'm editing. So like what people see on TikTok most of the time is broken up parts from a full episode. So if you go to our YouTube, we have full episodes, which are the things I pride myself in the most, because I put a lot of effort and try and be as creative as I can to make things flow. When you get when we're out there, we roughly on average get 2 hours worth of footage, maybe sometimes 4 on like a long trip. So you have to go through all the people that you talk to in a day, and you have to find how it makes sense and flows together, and pop culture references and little sound bites from shows and movies. And that's the main thing. And then what you see on TikTok are little TikToks broken up from that episode. So I'm usually editing an episode for 2 to 3 days. And then for the next 2 days afterwards, stuff that I didn't use in the episode or stuff from the episode, I'm breaking into TikTok. So I'll be editing all day long. And then if I know I have to go to the stadium for after the game, because I like doing post game, and sometimes I'll get pregame. And shout out to Billy's Sports Bar, because they let us film inside Billy's, and they're my favorite bar in the world. So shout out to Billy's.
I was going to ask you about that. That's pretty cool. I saw you got some footage into there. That's great.
Yeah, they're the best. They're my favorite sports bar in the world. I have
great,
the most fun
great selection too, and I like that nightclub feel they give, especially after the game.
Music, it's all of it. After a game, you got nowhere else like that in the world. It's awesome. So, so basically, I edit all day. I'll go for a quick run, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock. Then I'll get ready. Sometimes I'll be in Westchester, like maybe 25, 30-minute train ride. And then I'll go right to the stadium around 8:30. I also like to be like a Yankee fan. I like to watch the games outside the stadium. So, I'm watching it on the board. So I'll be outside. You could sometimes, and people see me and they're like, yo, what's up, Bronx Zoo? And I'll be like, yo, I'll be here after the game. But then we'll film from roughly the 7th or 8th inning until about hour and a half after the game on a Friday night. We'll go to Billy's, film there. And then I'll get home maybe roughly 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then I don't like to stop. So I'll like whatever, like I remember everyone I talked to that night. And there's certain things that I know that I get that I'd be like, that can't wait. I got to get that up right first thing in the morning. So I upload my media 2:30 in the morning, 3 in the morning. I'm editing these quick TikToks that I know would be good to post the next day. I give you an example. The hall pass video.
Yes.
That, definitely got a lot of traction. When that happened,
that was one of the first I saw. It was hilarious.
Yeah, man. A lot of people knew us after that one. And when that happened,
and just for people who haven't seen it yet, what is the hall pass video? Just in case our listeners and viewers who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So basically what happened was I've asked this question before. So like I remember talking to my field producer, Joe, and I think this is the first time I'm actually talking about this with anyone on camera. Joe said to me, he said, Jake, you haven't asked the hall pass question in a while. I'm like, we've gotten some good answers. I'm like, I don't know if we should do it again. And I'm like, you know what? Let me trust you guys. Like I actually, my sister helped me come up with that question when I first started the Bronx Zoo, because I wanted something that I could ask people that maybe if they're not the biggest Yankee fan, I can bring them into the conversation.
Yeah.
So me and my sister were downstairs by our guest room where we came up with that. I'll never forget the conversation because obviously it had a big impact on the Bronx Zoo. So I said, you know what, Joe? Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. But all of a sudden I see this couple. I'm going to say they're a couple because I've heard people tell me they weren't actually dating. From what I knew in the moment, they're a couple. They're walking at me like a couple. I ask them, are you dating? And they say, yes, it's on the video. So yeah. I asked the question.
Coast is clear.
And you could see it, like I said, in the full video. People like always say, oh, was that staged? No, they're walking at me from River Avenue. And I'm standing on 161st by gate 6. And they see the camera. They walk right at me. So I'm like, oh, what's up, guys? Are you dating? And they said, yes. And I asked them, I said, all right, let me ask you a question. And it came to mind. I was like, oh, a couple. Let's go for it. Let's see. would you rather the Yankees win a World Series, or would you, if the Yankees were to win World Series, would you allow the hall pass? And the girl was like, with who? And I said anyone in the world. And she said her ex-boyfriend.
Oh,
And I was
the
just like, I
pain.
literally, you see my face. I'm like, I remember, I'm like, that didn't just happen. Like, I'm like, and I look at his face and I'm like, he looks upset, like he's crushed. I mean, wouldn't be.
Yeah.
And then the final blow was, why'd you pick your ex-boyfriend? And she said he was a great lover. In
Oh, the
front of her.
pain.
I went, oh wow. And then you see it afterwards that we have. I'm like, dude, I can't believe that was just said. Like, I was like, that's crazy. And I was on the train that night because we only did before the game that night. And actually, it was the game that Tyone won 8 innings and it looked like he was going to throw a perfect game.
Yeah.
It was that Thursday night. And I'm like, man, did I really just leave and not do post game after this? Like this, they were playing the doubleheader. So I was getting the after and before crowd. And I'm like, is this really going to happen? I'm like, you know what? I know that hall pass video. I was on the train. I'm like, that is kind of crushing, but I'm like, they answered.
Hey.
So I put it up right away. And
Opportunity to be knocked.
Yeah, I mean, the next morning I woke up and my phone was, I actually slept in a little bit late because I was editing so late. And I wake up and my phone is going absolutely ballistic. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And I mean, I got shared by everybody. Everybody was talking about the hall pass video. So it was funny. But yeah, something like that in the moment, I'll go right away, put it up.
Hey, take advantage of it. And you never know what can happen. This technology or this world. I don't want the pandemic to happen to slow us down. So I really admired that. And, I think you were definitely fair in the situation and it had happened. So what are you going to do? And maybe there was some clarity for both of them. Maybe this guy found his future wife the next day because of that. So
I can't imagine that working out.
So when you talking about approaching other people in the street and that, and as you said, you literally just press record, and I'm sure you have a mixture of some people who don't want to come on, and then some people who are ready to tell their whole life and everything of all different ages, clearly. So when you do approach that, and I just some other encounters you've had, like I remember I saw one where I don't know how this got brought up. I think it was in Boston. Some girl was saying, like, you were talking about kissing. She wanted to, she's like, let's make out on camera. And then this is what I knew, like, yo, this guy knows what's good. You said on the cheek because you're not here to, get girls or anything. You're here to expose the universe. That's when I knew, like, this guy knows. I really respected that. I wanted to say that. I've seen some of those. I'm sorry, you're saying?
Yeah, no. In the moment, I think you could see in my face, I literally remember processing, like, I mean, what would that say if the Yankee fan came up to Boston and starts kissing the Red Sox fan? I mean, I literally processed that in my brain. I'm like, I that wouldn't work. So it's
right.
I like to. I mean, everyone sees it. Like, I definitely like to throw out the those type of questions once in a while and like have some fun with it. But I'm always thinking ahead. Like, what's gonna work? What would this make sense for the Bronx Zoo? Stuff like that.
And I found sometimes people have done those videos and they're like there to like hook up a camera, like you're contradicting the point of the video is to show that off. There's a whole other thing called Pornhub if you want to do that. If you want to get into those, no judgment, I guess. But when it comes to other like encounters, have you ever had to deal with like just some nasty people, like some people like absolutely rude, try to ruin your day, but because you're Jake fucking Kosack, nobody's gonna bring you down?
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. I've never really had a terrible experience, but I will say to that degree, no matter what happens, I'm gonna stay myself. Someone could come up to me, berate me, which has happened a little bit in Boston, nothing crazy, and people were like, "Oh, why didn't you just like flip out?" It's like I consider myself. And one time, a guy was, sometimes alcohol comes into play a little bit. It really hasn't that bad. But a guy like kind of like up, and I've made a point to myself at this point, and like nothing bad. has happened. People say no, and I make a joke of it. Like they're not being mean. I'm like, oh, they don't want to talk to me. Oh, I get it. Like things like that. Like
Right.
I don't take it personal. Some people just don't want to be on camera, and I respect it. They're at a game.
Right.
Um, I only want to talk to people who want to talk to me, and that's every aspect of my life. If you don't want to talk to me, I don't want to talk to you. Like I'm
For
not
sure.
gonna beg for you to talk to me. So yeah, but at the end of the day, especially when I'm at 161st Street, this might sound crazy, but I try and be a representation of the pinstripes. I'm not a
Yeah.
Yankee, but I want to show the world that we're what the Yankees are about: pride, tradition, respect. That's important to me. And
For sure.
sometimes I ask some questions that some might find a little bit pushing limits. Like I'm a 25-year-old guy. I like to have fun
Of
with
course.
questions and stuff, but I will never post anything that paints the Yankees in a bad light, disrespects the players that have played on that field or the organization, because Yankees pride and tradition and what that team represents means just as much to me as anybody. So when I'm out there, I want to act like I'm a representation of the history.
Wow, that's really, really assuring to hear and very wholesome, because like I said, some other people are just clout chasing, just trying to get certain views, but you clearly have a mission that's very admirable, and you're just bringing us fans together, and that's
That's
sweet to
really
see.
what it
Yeah.
is. And I'm not just drop. I just was saying this the other day. The most thing that I'm proud of is that when you look at Jake Kosack's TikTok page, it's not that common to see Jake Kosack as like the thumbnail. I like the most that I'm giving Yankee fans 30 seconds to talk about the thing that we all love most.
Mhm.
That's it.
The
That makes,
Yankees.
at the end of the day, like knowing that, and I've had people say that to me, like you've made me a bigger Yankee fan. You made me start watching the team again. I mean, that can make 8-year-old Jake cry. So
You can't get any better than that, Jake. Seriously, and kudos to you. And you see, like just the connection, like you have a real connection. I see you have people asking for your picture now. That must be humbling.
oh, I mean, when I started it, I I couldn't have imagined a year later that's what people would be wanting. And like to me, I still find it like wild. Like I'm just a kid with a microphone who's a Yankee fan out on 161st Street. But I think what people see when they see the Bronx Zoo is that tradition and that history of why we love this team. Because when you see us on 161st Street, like even like chants sometimes get a little bit awry,
Right.
and the F Altuve chants are very common, and that's not what I'm. Sometimes it's funny, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'll turn it around instantly and just try and get the entire Bronx chanting "Let's go Yankees." That's my goal.
Look at that, man. Look at that. And I was also just wondering too, have there been any other encounters that we haven't talked about already that have stick out? That's just funny. Like when you were talking to that German who looked just like DJ LeMahieu, that was funny. We ran into IKF's brother.
Did he not look like
Yeah.
DJ
It was his twin brother. Maybe it was JD LeMahieu.
Yeah,
for all we
JD
know.
LeMahieu.
I liked when you ran into IKF's brother. That was
Yeah,
cool.
that was cool. I mean,
in Boston too, right?
yeah, totally crazy. They were walking my way, huge group in Yankee shirts. So when I see that, yo, let's go. And then I said right away, so where are you from? And they said Hawaii. I didn't put two and two together,
Right.
even though they look alike. And I was like, I think his another family member was there, and it looked like a different version of Isaiah kind of Falefa.
Yeah, right.
And someone said that, and a lot of people in the comments was like, "That looks like Isaiah." And they walked towards me, and I was just excited that people were from Hawaii. Like that to me, like you said, that stuff is the coolest thing possible. Like what to show all the fans around the world, like Germany, Spain,
Yeah.
Japan, Mexico, Brazil. Like I love showing
It's
that.
the brand.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And that instance in particular, and then he's like, I'm his brother. And I'm like, what? I was like, you're Isaiah's brother? He goes, yeah. I was shocked. I was so excited.
Look at
so cool.
that. Have you had any other like celebrity encounters of people of influence? I saw you had that picture with David Cohn, for instance. Have you read into whether doing Bronx Zoo or just in your life in general?
Yeah. So when I was with TMZ,
oh yeah, that's right too. You mentioned De Niro and Pacino and all those.
You could look at my website, and there's Mariah Carey, Oprah, Cardi B. So I've
No
never
way.
been one to get starstruck because I'm
That's key.
grateful, humble, and I at the end of the day, I'm excited to meet everyone. Like I mean, like fans are fans. So like if there's a celebrity Yankee fan, and I mean obviously when I meet Yankee players, I get very excited because I'm a Yankee fan. But like David Cohn, I've met multiple times. The guy is an absolute gem of a person. He's a phenomenal
Mhm.
person. Very grateful to meet him a bunch, and he knew the zoo. He said, at least in the video, I asked him,
Look
and then
at
like
that.
Jose Trevino follows us, and like I've talked to him. I met him in person. He knows the zoo, so current Yankees on the team, and like Reggie Jackson follows the zoo. So it's
Yeah,
like
I saw Jordan Schultz commented on your TikTok, I
yeah, like
believe.
so like to me, like I get very excited. And I definitely want to take it to different, like I have some ideas to highlight some of those celebrity Yankee fans, but give me that mic, and at the end of the day, I just
How
like to
exciting. You
be
got to
first.
get Nick Turturro on.
Oh,
His hilarious
he's one
Twitter.
of the people I want on. He's a diehard Yankee fan.
I too, like I said, I've been in the industry in and out for about 7 years. Worked
Okay.
at like Sirius and MTV, CNN to name some.
Okay.
Um, and one encounter I had with the Yankees related. So one of the things I do on the side is Uber Eats, right? I won't say the place to figure it out, but um, I'm just working one day, get this order. I won't say the place either, maybe off air, but so this guy gets this very prominent fast food place, right?
Okay.
Very prominent. You don't know. I've said to my friends, this is literally the bet. Let's just say they're very popular. So I go to this area.
I think I know which one, but
Yeah,
we'll talk after.
we could talk off air about that, right? So I go to the place, right? And I had no idea this person lived in this area. So this is very prominent. And this place, it has a place where it need a security guard. And I said, hey, I'm here to drop this off. And the guy was joking. And like he said, oh, this guy's gonna give you free tickets. And I was like, okay, what? So I see the name. I was like, really? Oh, he lives here? Okay. And it was like, I hope I don't, not that I didn't want to run into him, but I just didn't want like, you know, I was prepared, but I didn't want to have like an awkward encounter or something weird like that, right? So I was like, okay, I gotta go. And it said take a picture and leave it there. So all right, this will be easy. I drive up, see the place. I drop off this prominent food, and the guy literally opens the door on a day he was very, very busy. I was like, oh, hey, well, here you go. So I wear this hat everywhere I go. Like literally my whole life, I'm wearing a Yankee hat. I literally reposted the other day, me 5 years old with the Yankee hat. Guy says, oh, I like your hat. I was like, I like the job you're doing right now. Um, and then and I was saying like, hey man, the future looks bright. I hope you have something up your sleeve. And he's like, yeah, we hope to do our best. But long story short, is Cashman. I delivered
That's
food to
awesome.
Brian Cashman
That's
at this
awesome.
place that at a certain place.
Okay.
And then he made the Montez deal a few hours later, and I was pretty
Oh, this is
psyched.
recent.
Oh yeah, this was last
Oh,
week,
that's
a
awesome.
week and a half ago. This was the
Yeah.
deadline
Yeah.
day, and
That's awesome.
he was great, really sweet, and I appreciated that. I mean, yeah, we still need to wait to see these guys to make moves, Benintendi, Montez, and all that, but we'll give that. Well, it's still mid-August. We nothing to worry about, as you said.
Benintendi's going to turn it around.
Oh, for sure. So excited when he joined the squad. But yeah, that's the coolest Yankee I've met.
Hey,
GM,
he's a
and
legend. He's a legend for sure.
they'll call him the best GM of all time for a reason in baseball.
Hey,
So,
him and Theo
oh
are
yeah,
the two best.
clearly that's a dream interview of mine. Is Theo Epstein. He's been a good
Epstein?
one. So like when we were talking about like sports and what I do, that like I see myself as a Bill Simmons type, does both the pop
Yeah.
culture and sports. And that Theo one, he interviewed Theo a few years ago, and I need to get a chance to talk to
You
him.
got it. I believe in you.
Hey man, I
Make it happen.
appreciate that. I believe in you too,
You're
man.
gonna
We
make it happen.
support each other as we grow our
Absolutely.
brands,
Absolutely.
and that means a lot. So just a few more things before we wrap it up. So
Yeah.
besides baseball and pop culture and stuff, are you like other sports? Like, are you a Giant fan or a Jet
Yeah, I'm a
fan or a
Giants
Knicks
fan.
fan? Like, what's the rundown for you between the sports?
Yeah, when it comes to baseball is the one thing I care about in life the most. So it's like that's number one. I'm a Giants fan.
Yeah.
I keep up with it. I follow it. When it comes to basketball, I say I'm a Nets fan.
Really?
Because Yankees, yes, network, they're kind of in the brand with it.
Right.
So became interested in the Nets, and I love the Barclays Center. So
It is a
that
great
was
arena. Seen a lot of cool
great.
concerts there. I saw like Kendrick Lamar there and Travis
Yep.
Scott and
I
Demi
saw
Lovato.
Jose. Sorry, not sorry. Great song.
Definitely.
Post Malone, I saw there. Bruno Mars, I saw there.
Wow.
So
Bruno puts on a show, I heard.
Bruno's best concert I ever saw in my life.
Really?
Bruno Mars was out of this world. So Barclays is, in the Nets. I just like everything about it. I like Brooklyn. I like the whole atmosphere. And then hockey, I'd say Rangers. I like everything there about, history, culture, things like that. So it doesn't compare to baseball, but football is probably my number 2.
Yeah, right.
I have some plans, to get into that.
All right.
Definitely be talking about that more as the seasons turn around, but definitely planning to get into that.
Well, we're looking forward to that. Yeah, I only live 20 minutes from MetLife Stadium now, my apartment in Jersey City. So
there you
go. The exciting
great
times
city.
there.
Jersey City's awesome.
Yeah, man. You ever go to you ever been to the Ashford or South House? Any of that down south?
I've been over to Hoboken. But I like Jersey. I like Jersey in general.
That's what I'm talking about.
It's a good state. It's underrated,
Hey, man, if you're ever in town, let me know. I'll
100%.
show you the cool spots.
We got let me ask you. We just put it on the zoo 2 nights ago. If they're gonna put a team in Jersey, where would you put it?
I saw you ask this question too. I remember the guy said Newark. I was like, where are you gonna put it? I mean, I guess it's cliche to say the Meadowlands, but there's just so much space. And I know I
like the Atlantic City answer.
Oh, that's a good one too. And they have a lot of good space there.
Jersey Shore,
I don't think we need to put it in Camden, New Jersey, exactly, but
we got Philly
yeah.
right now. So
I like the Atlantic City answer too. When we get the Atlantic City Blackjacks or something.
Hey, there you go.
We're gonna start that.
Not the Cardinals, the Cards.
Ooh, I like that.
AC
and yeah,
Cards.
Hoboken's great too. Just some of the bars, too many bars with covers in it. But
new Frank Sinatra statue in Hoboken.
Oh yes, they're right by the river there.
Yep.
You big Sinatra guy?
Huge Sinatra guy.
Really?
Huge Sinatra guy.
You think the day when you get married, you're gonna think a Sinatra song's got to be thrown in there?
Oof. I mean, I hope she's okay with New York down the aisle.
Hey.
But I don't know. My dad's favorite song, one of his favorite songs, and it's one of mine, like Jeter too, My Way. Also was sung by Elvis, who's another legend. And
really, I gotta see that version. I didn't know that.
His version's good too. Frank Sinatra, My Way, New York, Fly Me to the Moon. Yeah, all of it.
Yeah, that's my parents' wedding song, Fly Me to the Moon.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah. Come Fly With Me is a big one for me.
Fly With Me, yep. And then what's the other one? Oh, You Make Me Feel So Young.
Ooh, classic. Great. Sopranos reference. It was a very good year.
Great
chill songs.
Season 2 opening.
Yeah.
Holly Walnuts. I'll never forget it.
Yeah, right in the counter.
So wild. I'm like, what's going on? And that, what's funny? We put up a video last week. You mentioned it before about the Tony Soprano one. I love the season 2 opening of The Sopranos, but the season 2 finale is the best finale.
Yeah, and with the Rolling Stones song, and you put it in there.
Perfect. And he's smoking the cigar, and they show the waves. Best ending.
Unbelievable. That show was as good as it gets. I drive a lot past Satan's Dolls, which is the exterior of Bada Bing.
Yep.
And I'm tempted just to get in there. And I see like the meadows over there.
I mean, it's understandable. It's understandable.
I know they shot it on a sound stage at Silver Cup, but I wonder how close it must be. And
it has to be similar.
Right?
Yeah, a little similar.
You also you binging anything right now? Watch anything on TV? Like I'm big into Better Call Saul. We have the series finale coming up. It's gonna be the world is gonna change for.
I mean, I heard it's phenomenal. I watched all of Breaking Bad. I loved it. I never got into Better Call Saul, but I heard this season's like one of the best seasons of television history.
Oh, 1,000%. And I get it. Better Call Saul is definitely a slow burn, but once you get to I can't give one of the details. It's a major spoiler, but once you get to the halfway point of season 2, you're gonna be the whole way through.
Watching it. Right now, the the shows that I watched recently this year, I not meant much time to watch TV, but I'm a huge movie and TV guy.
Yeah, same here.
Ozark, I was into. Didn't like the final season as much, but I love the show.
That's one that I'm gonna get into very soon. Ozark. Love Stranger Things.
Stranger Things was unbelievable.
Love the Metallica Master of Puppets at the end.
Puppets. Yeah, I love. You know what I loved more though? Separate Ways at the end of episode 7.
Yeah,
that was
and
awesome.
the with the Kate Bush song.
The Kate Bush song.
It was another one I should mention. Was good.
Running
too.
Up a Hill, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So Stranger Things, and then I'm a big Marvel guy. So I actually did just I binged this year Daredevil and The Punisher. Unbelievable shows.
Love The Punisher, especially. Yeah. And you must have seen Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, I'm guessing.
Oh, yeah. It's opening night.
Most fun I've ever had in a movie theater.
Oh, it's incredible.
The whole time.
It was incredible. I mean, Endgame was probably my favorite still, but yeah, big movie guy, big Rocky guy, like I said.
Yeah, I heard they've been shooting Creed 3.
Creed 3 coming out in March.
Let's get it. Which one of all the Rocky films is your favorite?
So I actually Rocky means a lot more to me than just a movie. I wear this too. This is a company I started in college called Get Better.
Yeah.
A brand I started. I used to be very overweight growing up.
Really?
I was, hit obese point in freshman college year, sophomore year. I hit a really bad breaking point, just like physically. And then I hated everything. I had no motivation, which is totally different than who I am now. And a couple things happened in one weekend in February. And specifically, Stallone was up for an Oscar for the first Creed movie.
That's right.
I was super excited, and I was wearing my Italian Stallion shirt that was way too tight because I was, like I said, a bit overweight. And I ended up, he ended up losing, and that was it. That whole weekend.
Yeah, that was BS.
I was so mad. Like I was serious. I went home that night. I was just distraught. Like everything else happening in my life, I had no motivation. I didn't like myself. I'm overweight. What am I gonna do about life? And I'm a pretty blunt person, and it's like no one's gonna change my life for me. So I started watching Rocky and Rocky 2. That's my favorite one.
So underrated in the sense that like it should get more credit than what it deserves.
Absolutely. I mean, the scene of him running up the stairs, inspiring all those kids. That scene inspired me. I woke up the next day and in 4 months lost 70 pounds.
Wow.
And I changed my life. Everything changed after that. The job, I got Steiner job, my whole outlook on life. And I started this brand called Get Better because of Rocky, his inspiration, not just, other things were happening, but Rocky was the main reason I said, I got to change my life because no one's waiting in life to give you an opportunity. And I think if anything that tied in with the Bronx Zoo is, no one was out there to give Jay Kosack a microphone and say, go out and do it. I had to do it myself, and got those lessons from Rocky, got those lessons from Jeter, and guess that's where we are today.
Look at that. Huge kudos to you and respect, Jake. And I know somebody who also used to be very overweight too, and I just get always picked on and stuff. And I was like, well, if I lose this weight, then they can't make fun of me. So that's really happened. And I had this really embarrassing, talk about Barclays Center, one of the most embarrassing moments of our life. I'll tell you now. Okay. So I pretty much, I was with someone I was really nervous to be around, this girl I liked, right?
Okay.
And
it always starts with that.
Right? Oh man, let's be real. And I was like, wow, she's going to see Kendrick Lamar with me and stuff. And I had like my cousin and her mans at the time. Like, oh, this has to be. But I feel like a combination of being so nervous and then drinking too much, and I just like embarrassed myself so bad at that concert, just as messy as it could be. And I feel so awful. And we still hung out and still then, but any chance I had, I just screwed it up.
Yeah.
And but still a really good friend, someone I really respect. But after embarrassing myself like that, and to this day, you'll never see me drink a Jim Beam. I never want to get that sloshed ever again, right? Yeah. And I really think like that really had something to do with it, was the nerves. But I was just like, man, I feel so alone. I feel like I can't do anything admirable. Even though I might have liked this person, I just don't want to lose a friend out of it. So I was like, I have to use this type of outlet. And that was also fitness. And I just, anytime, even to this day, I just pound those weights and running and changing my diet. And that changed everything, and just a better outlook on life. And that was also during baby bombers too. And I felt it was a nice parallel for the future. And, and here we are, as we said.
Yeah, the gym can make everyone feel better.
Oh yeah.
It's the best, honestly. Like, you know, I don't personally, I don't drink. The only thing I smoke is an occasional cigar.
Yeah.
But like, you know, when I'm stressed, you find me at the gym.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the best place. And anyone, you know, who feels like down about themselves, because like, I mean, you get it, I get it. Like, I know what it's like not to you know, to wake up and like want to just do anything. Like
you're not alone.
Person there, you can't expect the world. I'm very like, I'm all about that. The world doesn't want to see you succeed. You have to want to see yourself succeed. So.
And look where we are, the steps in the right direction for that.
You're doing your thing, I'm doing mine. It works.
Beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, just one last thing before and then I just want to do one thing I do with every first guest I have here. So, one of the things you mentioned, one of your dreams and starting this is to work for the Yes Network one day. I was wondering about that dream. If you could go more into detail about your dream working for Yes, and more of that inspiration. Why specifically the Yes Network? I mean, you could go to ESPN or John Boy, The Fan. You can go to Barstool, but why the Yes Network?
Yeah, you know, I'm open to every opportunity that's presented to me, but I've said it since the beginning, and I don't shy away from it. It ties back to the history and tradition. When people think of the Bronx Zoo, I want them to think of something. I always say it's not just my show, it's our show. And I believe that. No one wants to just see me talk for an hour straight. But when they think of the Bronx Zoo, they do think of me. And I mean, one and one together. And I want them to think of the zoo and Jake Kosack as someone who just loves his team, who represents his team. And, you know, I'm never going to play shortstop for the New York Yankees. I'm never going to manage the New York Yankees. But if I could prove to people that, and it's not about proving to people, you know, maybe that's not the best way to say it, proving to myself, honestly, at the end of the day, I want to prove to myself that the kid who had nothing going for him, and, you know, the only people that believed in him were his mom and dad. And thank God my mom and dad never gave up on me, never made me feel like I couldn't do anything, because they made me believe I could be anything I ever wanted. But it was not until I realized that I could be anything I wanted to be. And that was work in some capacity with the New York Yankees. And if I'm going to represent the fans of New York and, you know, show the Yankee fans in the best light possible, I want to do it at the place that is all about the New York Yankees. That is all about the history, the tradition, the pride. And that's the Yes Network. And that's why I say it. And a lot of people say, you know, you bring it up all the time. And it's just because, you know, that's where I want to be. You know, why wouldn't I tell everyone in the world? Right? Someone's got to hear it, right? Someone's got to hear it eventually. So,
yeah, you're clearly growing. You're clearly going. Wow, you are clearly growing. Why am I not saying this? You are going places, Jake, with that pride and understanding the value in it, especially. Possibilities are ended. Very talented guy right here, man. And I hope this is leads to more type of collaborations or
absolutely,
or some type of connection.
Zoo. You got to be on the zoo now.
Oh, I'm at Yankee Stadium any chance I could get. I will be there, and we have a lot to talk about.
We'll be there.
Oh, please! I plan to try to go to Subway Series the next one I'm going.
Perfect.
Look for you there, or any chance I just on a random Saturday, if I could go to a game, man, I'll be hitting you up, and
absolutely,
we'll have a lot of fun with this.
I'll give you a good question too.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, and that's what I saw. Like, again, when I saw you on the feed, I was like, wow, this guy's bringing Yankee fans together. I really want to show my fandom to this guy and also just have this connection. And here we are. We've talked for almost an hour and a half. So that's how you know. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
that's Yankee talk right there, though.
And man, other good things after that. So one last thing, Jake. So for every first appearance one has when they come on the Productive Conversations podcast, I do this questionnaire called the Proud Questionnaire. I ask the same 10 questions to every single person who comes on for the first time.
Oh, cool.
So it's based off of, have you ever seen Saturday Night, not Saturday Night Live, you ever seen Inside the Actor's Studio?
Yeah.
James Lipton, he asked these 10 questions too.
Cool.
And I'd like to continue the tradition as you will.
Sounds
So I wonder
good.
if we could do the Proud Questionnaire, and
Let's do it.
then we'll say goodbye after that.
Absolutely.
So my first question for you, Jake, is what is your favorite word?
My favorite word, a tie between the Yankees and two words here, but get better. That's my brand. Get
Now,
better.
that is an awesome answer.
There we go.
I've had some really weird ones, but that's one of my favorites. Little bias aside, but it's a good answer too. So, having said that, what is your least favorite word?
Can't.
Mm-hmm. Me too. Literally,
Hate it.
that and no.
Yep.
Number 3. Now, this isn't necessarily a sexual question, and believe me, some people have been that honest with it. But I want to ask you, what turns you on in this world? Whether it's what gives you fulfillment, I should say. Like, what turns you on and brings you a lot of joy?
Two things. Well, I'll put it like this: the idea of reaching for an impossible task and the process on the way there. So thinking of the craziest, biggest thing I can do and achieving it, one, but I also love the journey. I know a lot of people want to skip the journey, but I love the journey. I think it's fun. Even the little hiccups, the failures, the freakouts, the things that make you go crazy. But I love getting to the impossible dream.
Oh, yeah. And that's where the good stories come in, and
Yep.
taking the deep breath and getting to that peace. So the next question from there is, what turns you off?
I would say specifically, what people who make you feel like you can't do something, and people who make you feel like your dream's impossible. So basically, you're one and the same. But I've had people tell me that I need to get a life because I like baseball too much. Those things motivate me, but it's very disheartening to think that people out there spend their time thinking that other people's dreams are unimportant or they don't matter.
Man, they can sulk by themselves. Those are the true losers. They're lost.
They are losers.
So next one is, what sound or noise do you love?
Sound or noise?
Yeah.
The roar of a crowd at Yankee Stadium.
That was my answer. Nothing beats the roar of the crowd.
Nothing.
Thousands of people all of us enjoying something. Can't beat it, man. Can't beat it. And with that being said, what is the sound or noise that you hate?
Oof. I don't know.
Red Sox fans cheering.
I'm gonna keep it baseball related, but like called 3 strikeout, like against
when you
the
have
Yankees,
have an aggressive up.
That's the first thing that's coming to mind. And sometimes when people eat food.
Oh yeah, though that's the worst, especially something sloppy.
Very loud of eating food. That drives me nuts too. So
especially when I'm hungry and I need some food. What's your favorite curse word?
That's a good question. I never even thought of that.
Right.
The F-bomb, but I like the F-bomb in Italian too.
Oh man, I know it.
It's a good one. They say it in The Sopranos a lot. So
okay. Number 8. What profession other than your own, whether Bronx Zoo, what you're doing with Get Better, what profession other than your own or the professions would you like to attempt?
Definitely acting down the road.
All right.
I'd be into acting. I loved acting as a kid. I also want to open up a gym one day.
Nice.
Just as an entrepreneur, I want to hopefully get enough capital in my life to be able to open up different ventures. I want to open up themed like restaurant.
Really?
Like a film themed restaurant.
Yeah, like a Better Planet Hollywood.
Exactly. And a gym. a very specific type of gym. So
Well, you'll see me there. I'll definitely come to support.
a lot of Rocky playing.
Dude, if you want to pump you up, always go training montage, Rocky 4.
Hearts on fire.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way to go.
Oh, how could you not get pumped with
Oh,
that?
amazing.
Stallone had literally, I think I read he had 2% body fat that day.
No, it's probably the best in shape a person's been ever.
Oh, I mean, yeah, you literally the perfect figure. I mean, that's what happens when you're supposed to be that ripped.
Dude was ripped.
I was curious also, who else are some of your other favorite actors or actresses besides Stallone you mentioned?
Like inspirations or just
yeah, whether fan inspirations or others. Like I love Robert Pattinson right now. I think that dude
he's great.
He's a chameleon.
Batman. Guy was great at Batman. I'd say Stallone's my favorite actor, but the greatest actor to ever live is Al Pacino.
Yeah.
Al Pacino is I'm a big Brad Pitt fan. Margot Robbie's great. Just
can't wait for the Barbie movie.
Yeah, she's beautiful, but she's also a great actress.
Seriously, what a great New York actress she did a Wolf of Wall Street. She's from Australia.
Leo DiCaprio.
He's as legendary as they get.
De Niro too. But yeah, Al Pacino, I think, is the greatest actor on planet Earth.
And also, God rest his soul, James Gandolfini. I really like his son, Michael Gandolfini. He's good.
He was the best part of the movie.
Yeah.
He was the best part.
He was really good in The Deuce. Have you seen that on HBO?
I haven't watched it. I heard he was good though.
Very good show.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like Pattinson. Big Pat, and then Bob Odenkirk now, Ray Seahorn for Better Call Saul.
Yep.
And you gotta love Brian. You gotta love Bryan Cranston.
Oof, Walter White. I got him on the zoo once.
Really?
Yep, I got him. I used my my old skills. I used to in the beginning of the season. I went down to the city, and knew they'd be at shows and yes in the morning. So I got a couple people. I got Jimmy Fallon, Magic Johnson, Sebastian Maniscalco.
You have an all-star list right here.
Ken Burns, Bryan Cranston.
Ken Burns, wow.
John Bernthal.
The Punisher.
Yeah. So I got them all in the zoo before the season started.
Look at that, man.
Yeah. So. And
he's a big baseball fan, big Dodger fan, Cranston.
Oh yeah. That's what I asked him about. Will we get a Yankee? It was real quick, but he gave me a quick answer.
That's what we like to hear. So, what profession would you not like to do?
That's a good one. What profession would I not like to be? Trying to think of something that I don't know. What was your answer? Give me an idea.
Like, I wouldn't want to be a truck driver in the sense that I have so much pressure on me. I don't want to make extra turns and you don't want to cause an accident because then it's really slow. I wouldn't want to be a
pilot.
Oh yeah, right. That's a good.
There we go. I wouldn't want to be a pilot. Too much responsibility.
All you do, as we love the sky, but imagine just seeing the sky straight. At least when you drive, you get a little scenic. But
yeah, all good there.
So my final question for you, Jake, is if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That's a great question.
It's my favorite to ask.
The two first things that come to mind, and I think that's always the most honest answers that you have, are you were a great son, you were a great brother, you were a great nephew, grandson, you treated your family right, and then also you treated people right.
That's as good as it gets, Jake. Can you just tell us one more time where we could find your content and the Bronx Zoo's content?
Yeah, Jake Kosack on TikTok, Jake Kosack Instagram, Twitter, and then the Bronx Zoo TBZ on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Reddit, and LinkedIn.
That's what I'm talking about. Jake, this was as good as it got and even better. Great. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. And I hope I get to see you in person really soon, man.
Absolutely.
And maybe
we're going to make it happen.
Get some more collaborations down the road. But either way, I am a huge fan and will continue to be a huge fan. And I can't wait to see what you do at the Bronx Zoo and what you do in general, man.
Thank you so much. This was great.
Anything else you want to say before we go?
Let's go, Yankees. Chase for 28.
That's what I'm talking about. Perfect way to end it. That's Jake Kosack, host of the Bronx Zoo. Can't wait to see you down the line, man. Have a great night.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye.